Hi, everyone. It's Jeff Fisher of High School Football America, heading to the state of Alabama, and the team that finished #2 in the High School Football America 100 last year, back-to-back state champs in the biggest classification. Mark Freeman at Thompson High School is joining us right now. They've got some bad weather coming their way, so we're going to get through this and get you out to safety, Coach. But thank you for taking the time.
Thank you for having us. Look forward to appreciate everything you do, Jeff.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And want to look back and a little forward here since we're kind of in between things. But I got to be honest with you. So I'm 60. I think I'm up around 1,500 games I've seen in person. I don't know how many on television or on tape, but I don't quite know that I've ever seen a finish to a football game, especially a state championship game like the one you guys had against Auburn last year, down 28-19 with 18 seconds to go. And you know, I just wonder if you can actually spit out exactly what happened there for the viewers to let them know how much of a miraculous comeback it was. Because I'm thinking you're thinking it might have been over with 18 seconds to go. But take it away from there if you can.
Well, obviously, you tell your kids, play to the bell, play to the final zeros, and all that. And common nature, common awareness, with 18 seconds or something, don't go on the clock and you're down, more than, an onside kick in a field goal type situation that it don't look good. We held out hope that we kept one timeout in our pocket to see what would happen there at the end. And we had a timeout left. And so we got the timeout called, the clock stopped, and forced the other team to make a decision on fourth down. And obviously they chose to punt. We blocked the punt, ran it in. Of course, get the onside, line up onside kick. It's something you work every day as a head coach. You're looking at a lot of days what's too much, but we do a great job. My special team guys, John Jones and Jake Jameson, they do a great job on our special teams. And so we put a lot of time in special teams, and those onside kicks are hit or miss. You can work on them every day, and the ball don't bounce right, but the ball bounced perfect. We get on that ball and go down and just try to manage it. Our whole goal of the last drive was to keep the ball near the right hash in case we had to kick a field goal. Our kicker felt better from that right hash than he did, middle or left hash. So we tried to be, we lost our quarterback. I think the third snap we had the ball in the second quarter. We lost our quarterback. So we're playing through the game, and the Trey Roberson, the guy we had to switch from receiver to quarterback, we knew about how far we thought he could throw it. So we wanted to try to get a pass to underneath and then take maybe 2 shots to the end zone. And they interfered, which I think was a good interference. I think the player made a great play by interference. We were somehow, it looked like we might get behind them and have a chance to catch the ball. So they hold it, and comes down 4 seconds. We send the kicker in, and wasn't sure if the other team was going to call timeouts or not. So we told them to go in and prepare to kick the ball. And we went in, they didn't call timeout. We put the ball down. Before you know it, it's going through and it's over. It's that fast, and our rings, in our church and around here, there was a series called But God. And I was driving home that night, and I said, Lord, that was awful good. I appreciate it. And he said, that's a little bit more than but God. He said that might have been only God, and I just, conversation my way. So on our rings this year, we got only God on the side of our rings, because I'm like you, done it a long time. And that, for whatever reason, that game served a lot of purpose. I had coaches from all over the country hit me up about their off season, about going, playing to the whistle. And so we're just fortunate that one came out on our side that night.
Yeah, that's it. I'll tell you what, like I said, I know I haven't seen it, and I doubt that I will ever see it again. That's for sure. And a little help from up above never hurt anyone, right? That's for sure. So let's talk a little bit about the program that you've built there. Let's face it, for the longest time, everybody around the country knew Hoover, but you got back to back. You've climbed steadily in our national rankings. Take us back to, some of the things you did at the beginning that are paying fruits now, that are still part of the Warrior tradition and all that. How did you build it to the point where you guys are a national power now at this point?
Well, we're truly blessed here that when we came in here, it was not real good. And I don't think there's really one area that you could say caused it not to be good. It was just years of not kind of getting over the hump to seeing some success. So, you know, people talk about changing culture, and I don't know that that's I don't know if that's a 1 step, 2 step. I don't know what that entails. I just know that we came in here and tried to convince our kids here that they mattered, that there was reason that they could not or would not match up to whoever it was. And at that time, it was Hoover. And you have to give Hoover, you know, I talk to the kids all the time about you can't go back and change history. You can't Google and change history. And so the record books vouch and will back up, substantiate that Hoover was and still is a great program. So, you know, you ask yourself and convince your kids and our coaches, we would meet and talk about love our kids, do some things along the way that make them kind of feel together that they can do this. And you know, it's just a thing that you got to go in and convince your kids that y'all matter. There's no reason other than yourself that you can't compete. You know, those old strategy you hear your whole life, they put their pants on the same way we do. And so, you know, we were very fortunate that our parents were ready to see things change. Our administrators were ready, and our superintendent had a great vision. And over the process of talking to Dr. Vickers about this school and this situation, this city, I just, you know, you pray about it, and I felt that we could come here and there was a lot of lives that we could touch, and it's about touching lives. It's about changing lives. It's about mentoring these kids. So I was able to hire really good men. Most of them had been with me other places. Talk to them about coming here with a mission, a battlefield, a mission field. Come up here and we could do this. And just over the process of being here, I think the kids had to buy in, and thank God they did. And the parents have bought in. And like I said, it's just your administrators are good, our teachers are good. It's a great town. So I think it was a perfect storm at the right time.
Yeah. And I got to believe, and again, every team is special, right? But this senior class that goes to, you know, 3 straight, winning back-to-back titles and all that. Let's talk a little bit about some of the kids that maybe had some leadership, you know, hands in this that help you reach the pinnacle that you've reached. Just spit out some kids' names that the people around the country should know made a difference in Thompson Warrior football.
Well, you know, to touch on that, I have to go back to like the first year we were here. Football was bad. They didn't win a game the year before. They didn't win many the previous 3 or 4 years. And that class that we got here was a bunch of seniors that just dug in and they wanted to be part of building something. So everything we do goes back to that original class, staying out, having enough to compete, having enough to build the program. And then as you go through, you know, the players last year, you look at, I think we had a great core of receivers. In our offense, we need good receivers. We had good receivers. We had Trey Roberson, J.B. Mitchell, Sam Reynolds. They had been with us a while. They were leaders throughout the whole year. Ryan Pepins is a heavy recruit going in this season. Those 4 guys did a tremendous job at receivers. We had our running backs, Jared Crockett and Brandon Franklin. We were really strong at running back. We lost Brandon 3rd or 4th week to a knee injury. So Jared was kind of back there, and we had some guys step up that helped Jared get through that. But you go back, the O-line wasn't real big and physical, but our O-line did a great job. We moved a guy to center, Cole Hall, that was just really smart. He got us lined up right, and I felt like the O-line got better every week. But I think you go back, and I think quarterback was untested. We had no 7-on-7, which our offense is built around installing all the stuff in spring. You know, right this time of year right now, we're talking and meeting and stuff, but we needed that spring training to make us feel good, all the competition. And so Connor Harrell, the quarterback going in and being able to manage that with no experience was huge. You got to have a quarterback to be successful at a high level, you've got to have a quarterback, and you might as well face it. You need a quarterback. If you got two, you really don't have one, really. And so we were blessed that Connor came along and played great. But I think here in our program, our offense is always we've been very successful offensively, score a lot of points, had a lot of success. But to win those championships, you got to be great on defense. And our defense, we had so many good players over there. You start with Jeremiah Alexander. I think he's the top player in the state coming up this year, top 2 or 3 probably in the country. We had another 10th grader, Tony Mitchell at corner. He's a top 20 player in America this year. Peter Woods is a top 5 player in America this year. And they kind of anchored it over there. And we had some guys step up. Gavin Shipman was a guy we moved around corner to safety a little bit, but Gavin Shipman played really good for us over there. And then you go back and, like I said, I think to be really good, you got to play defense. And Jax Van Zandt is a guy that got us lined up, got all the calls right at linebacker for us. He's a tremendous player. And along the way, we had kids show up, and every week we had somebody on defense stand up and make good plays. And, you know, there's so many of them that you can't go through all 11 over there. But it starts with the 3 kids, obviously, that are preseason All-Americans this year, but the 8 around them. And Jax Van Zandt, you know, I've had a lot of good inside backers, but Jax Van Zandt, like I said, he gets us lined up, and he's a really good football player, and that helps us. And Gavin and E.J. Edwards and our corners last year, we just a lot of guys, Jeff. I know but every one of those guys was important. And then, so I think that was the gist of it. We had a lot of good players.
Yeah, and you know, it's funny. Depth is so critical, and I don't think it gets talked about enough. As a matter of fact, one of your colleagues down there, Josh Floyd, and I talk about it all the time. When building a program, if you don't get the depth, it's okay to have 1 or 2 players, but if you don't have the depth to make it through the hall of your region and the schedule that you play, it's tough. Is there any secret to building depth in a high school football program in 2021?
Well, you know, a lot of people would disagree with me on this. And rightly so. I'm not saying my thoughts are right, but over the past 10 years at Spanish Fort and here, I think the way we handle practice, and when I say they don't agree with me on this, is I'm not a big advocate for JV football.
No.
I would rather have a 9th and 10th grade blended team of the kids that's coming up that you get some playing time. The way we practice, our basic JV team, they serve as our look team at everything we do in practice. So we get countless hours of film and watching our kids grow. And I think that's the way we build depth, is through the way we practice. Mm-hmm. So we demand that look team to serve a purpose, to look good. I take coaches every day off our staff. They go run Scout D, Scout O, and we're able to come in at night and watch film after practice and watch those kids develop. And those kids that have been on that are the ones we won games with last year that were 2 or 3 years prior. Those were our scout guys.
Yeah.
So, you know, 32 minutes of JV football, that's fine. But I think, you know, I think our kids, everybody loves to play the game, but I think developing a program, the way we design our practice has helped us substantiate depth and maintain depth as we went along. Now, we don't have great depth like I would like, but we do have depth, and we do have players that we know their mental state. We know if they compete. We know a lot about them because they're with us every day in practice, and it's the way we practice.
Yeah. It's an interesting take. I've never heard that, but it is interesting. And like I said, I think
it's not a popular take, you know, but that's ours, and it's just my thought. I just think that there's a lot more time we spend with those kids at that age to get them better than 32 minutes of a game, you know.
Yeah, so, it makes sense. You sold me on it, Coach. I'm tired of asking COVID questions, right? The season's over. We played through it. We got 36 states that did it. I'm glad for that. My questions have now switched up to, what'd you learn about yourself during this time? What surprised you about yourself? What became a strength you didn't even know you had? And anything interesting come out of COVID-19 for you personally?
I think if anything with me personally, it built my faith and confidence in the Lord. Uh, you're sitting there this time last year. We just started in the deal where we're out of school. It might have been 2 weeks, a month. We didn't know. You're sitting around all spring, and in this time of year, most every coach is starting to get that fire back. You're getting ready for spring training. You're installing stuff. You're talking about your practice periods. You're talking about planning for your first practice, your third practice, your ninth practice, and you're sitting at the house. And so I think when we got the okay to come back, I think every morning come to work, you just thank God, man, that we're getting to go do this again. And 22 years of doing it, I thought, Lord, I'm embarrassed. I've taken so much of this for granted because I really don't go to work. I get up in the morning, I go do something that I love doing, and I'm going to be around people that I love being around. So it really made me feel like I had really overlooked a lot of things in life, and it made me feel every day like I could come to work, pull up and there's cars in the parking lot again, and man, you just say, thank you, Lord, for giving us this. But we had a plan on how to attack that we thought was the best interest. I called doctors, I called people all over the country saying, I know you don't know this, but what can we do to give our kids the best chance? And man, we sent a letter home to our parents and asked them to help us with some things. And we had some things that we asked our kids and our parents, be on our team when they're home with you. Help us help your son and your family stay healthy. I can't say enough about our coaches and our parents that they bought into our plan. And, we got through the season. We had a few hiccups. Thank God we didn't have anything major. Our region didn't. We played every game. So you just learn. I think it was a time to slow down and look and see the blessings that we have to do what we do every day. But you learn, like you said, there was a lot of unknowns. And as a coach, you deal with unknowns, but it was a different unknown. But, I think just the awareness of having the game again was huge. Everybody I talked to was just so thankful that we got to go do what we do. And the kids need structure. That it's not good for them to be home right now, I don't think. So I think for the kids get back in school, we had all our kids come in. We had some remote school, but we brought them into the school to do it. So we got our hands on our kids most every day. And, just, I don't know, Jay, you had to have a plan and follow it and pray it was right.
Yeah, and I've said this to anyone that wants to listen around the country, and it's not a political statement. I said if anyone was going to be able to handle this and play through it, it was the coaching profession, because I think the profession is just incredible. I mean, you guys are, fathers, second fathers, therapists, all the things, and you're used to working in systems. So I had no doubt it was going to work. It was whether the kids would step up, and of course the kids did, and that says a lot about this generation. So I love it. Let's switch a little bit back to football now. Again, one of the things that I talk about to a lot of people, especially since moving to Atlanta and getting to see more and more Alabama football, is your region. I mean, we've heard about the Big North in New Jersey, the Trinity League in Southern California. I watched it for 6 years, South Georgia football. I gotta tell you, I'm telling people your region is one of the best, in the top 5, I think, in the country. Put on your ambassador hat there a little bit and tell me your take on how good football is in that region you got to play in and week out, and then probably meet somebody again a second time in the playoffs.
Yeah, and that's the key you hit on. It's bad enough to play really good teams during the season. I think our region is like I said, I think when we were at Spanish Fort, there was a year or two, we were in a really strong region down there where you had some great teams down there and you went through it, but the classification was a little bit bigger, so you might not see them necessarily again. But obviously Hoover set, for years, they set the tone and was there. And I think it got to be where people would fight for second, third, and fourth up here. But you just mentioned Josh Floyd and them at Trussville. Trussville has grown. Their program's really good. But everybody in the region right now, the school systems have it where you're going to have availability to have really good coaches at not just the high school, but your freshman JV level. So you're getting adequate practice. You're getting adequate reps for your young kids. You're practicing in a way that those kids are getting better rather than standing around out there. So it just does. It accumulates over the years, and there's really good coaches in our region. You got to play every night, and really, honestly, on a night, whatever team that year may be toward the bottom, they can beat you, and that's just not. You don't roll into somebody's stadium. They come in here, and it'd be a game that you can play bad because really and truly you can get beat. There's really good coaches at every school. There's good players at every school. So you really got to just you got to go in and play that. And then, like you said, you roll around the playoffs. I think we've played Hoover twice a year. I don't know, at least the last 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
So Trustful, we had to play them twice. I think the last couple of years, maybe the last 3 years, maybe. Then I mean, you go through the region and Oak Mountain, Chris Bell and them over there, they run triple option stuff. So and they do a great job at it. Vestavia has always been competitive with Coach Anderson and that bunch. They play hard and they're very well coached. And it's a good region. And that's the thing. I think you've seen Hoover come out of it for years and have success. And I think if you can come out of this region, I don't know the record on it, Jeff, but this region, the teams that come out of this region that have won state championships is pretty high. And so it prepares you to play in those big games. So yeah, I think it's a blessing in a lot of ways. The thing you worry about, can we get through it healthy? Because every week is a battle.
And then you get back to that depth question you were talking about there. That's for sure. Coach,
Yeah.
a couple more before I let you go here. Let's look forward. You're going to have some spring ball. You talked about the importance of your installs. It sounded like you've got some kids coming back, which helps. So tell us and the people around the country a little bit how you approach spring ball and what you do to get ready for the fall of 2021.
Well, personally here, our freshmen in our middle school will play a local school here. My varsity, we decided not to play a game this year. We missed last spring, and we felt like it hurt us fundamentally. So we're gonna take our 10 days, and we're just gonna work on us and try to get our young kids there again, building depth. We got some kids we know can play. I've got a really young freshman that we put up last year, quarterback, that he's going to get a lot of practice in spring with our ones. We got a lot of young kids that's going to get a lot of reps in spring. We're not going to have to get ready to play coaches can say what they want, but if you're going to play another school one night, you're going to spend a couple of days getting ready for that school so you don't embarrass yourself. So not having that headache, I think we're going to get 10 really great days that we can go out there with a plan and a purpose every day. This is what we want to get better. And days where our defense needs to get better, we're going to help them get better offensively, and where we need to get better, they're going to help us get better. And then we'll have some special team stuff in there that we feel like we need to really work on. So strategically, I feel really good about what we're going to do in spring, how we're going to progress through that and touch on some things. And then we get those 10 days in, and I think it's 2 weeks off. And hopefully June 1, the quiet period, we'll get back in what they call a quiet period with these colleges, and we can go to a couple 7-on-7 camps at these schools. We can start playing some other schools 7-on-7, and we get a full off season. The 7-on-7 to us defensively, we play our starters, our linebackers have to cover. We don't play 7 DBs. We play our kids, and we run our offense, and that's huge to our program. So spring training, we're looking forward to spring training and developing some young kids.
Your colleagues have kind of turned the moniker quarterback whisperer on you. You mentioned Connor's name earlier, Connor Harrell and all that. Tell us a little bit about how much it helps to have a guy that's taken snaps under center and successfully. Of course, you didn't have him for really most of 2.5 quarters, I guess, in the championship game, but must make your job a little bit easier, I would think. And then I hear you got a freshman down there you're going to get some time for. So I guess the cupboard is not empty, that's for sure.
No, and our offense is set up where our quarterback has a lot of leeway to get us in a good situation. knowing the language and knowing what we call stuff, because everything is we don't have a lot of long terminology. Everything has to mean a lot, and a lot of it has a lot of things tied up into it. So knowing the language is very key. And then I think the way we practice, our O-line can go practice on a few things that they have to know, and it don't affect them what we're doing on the back end necessarily, other than knowing what either the signal from the sideline or the verbiage is. So I think having Connor back, knowing the language is huge, and then bringing the younger guy, Zach Sims, up last year when we had another really good freshman guy. So we brought Zach up to get him some experience, and he'll get a lot of reps with Connor coming off the collarbone injury. So I think at quarterback, we're going to be fine and get some reps there. And we got to get new, our running backs need to get a lot of reps. But I think defensively, we need to find some DBs that we can count on. Are they corners? Are they safeties? That's going to be a key on defense. Can we find the rear end guys, the third level guys? Are they a safety? Are they a corner? We get that fixed in spring. Develop a couple offensive linemen that are going to be young. We lost 3 good, Anthony Butler and Anthony Kilburn, and we lost some guys up there that we really count on. But Parker Mitchell's back, Noah Watson's back, Cole Hall's back. So we got a chance there to get better, but it's just about development, and we look forward to it.
Yeah, well, we look forward to seeing where you are. Number 1 public school in America. That probably felt pretty good to hear that, just a notch away at number 2. We really have enjoyed watching the growth you guys have had there in the program. And thank you so much for taking the time. Like I said, you got some bad weather. You took the time out to talk to us. So we really appreciate it. And we wish you nothing but great success in 2021.
Jeff, thank you so much for having us, man. God bless.